What if I told you there's a cave in the Grand Canyon the government doesn't want you to find? It's filled with Egyptian artifacts and it's been wiped from all public maps.
In the Grand Canyon.
In the Grand Canyon.
Here in Arizona.
Here in Arizona.
Egyptian artifacts.
Egyptian artifacts. So there was this dude in 1909. There was an article written in the Arizona Gazette. And I don't know if he wrote the article or it was penned for him, but the guy's name was G.E. Kincaid. And he said that he went down in the Grand Canyon. Him and this other dude from the Smithsonian I can't remember the guy's name, but they went down in a raft. They were rafting through to this area, very treacherous, can't get in. It's like all this shit. But anyway, he notices a cave. It's got like Egyptian hieroglyphic shit on it.
Sure.
Right. I mean, because
you're naturally going to go into the cave.
I'm going in the cave.
You're not going in the cave.
But he writes all about it. And I'll just read a couple of the things that he wrote so we can kind of get.
This is like from a field journal or something?
No, this is from the article in Arizona Gazette, which I'm assuming were notes he took in his field journal.
Okay.
Okay, like here's one. He talks about the passages once you get in. He's like, the main passage is about 12 feet wide, narrowing down to 9 feet toward the farther end. It's about 57 feet from the entrance. The first passage branches off to the right and left, along which both sides are numbered. They're numbered. Sides are a number of rooms about the size of an ordinary living room today, though some are about 30 by 40 square feet, so like the size of a big garage. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls into the passages. The walls are about 3 feet 6 inches in thickness, very precise. Like, what does he bring? Did he bring a fucking tape measure with him?
Did they didn't have digital calipers back then?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. When was this?
1909.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what they had back then. I don't know. Maybe I should have looked up, early 20th century tape measures.
And kind of measured with sound
Maybe.
Or some shit.
Dude, there's a lot. I mean, so I'll tell you what. Let's listen to a little bit of Joe Rogan and AJ Gentile, and we can kind of like react and pause and go around. I've taken a few notes on this and like looked up a few things so we can kind of talk about it as we get into it.
All right.
What do you think? Let's let it go.
Yeah, send it.
That's a good story.
Well, the whole Grand Canyon thing is bananas.
That's AJ Gentile,
There's areas
obviously.
of the Grand Canyon
And if you don't know who the fuck Joe Rogan is.
explore.
You cannot go. You cannot fly over.
Right.
And you can't fly under the rim. Yet when you go to those bad places,
Can't fly
suddenly a white plane flies over under the rim, black helicopters show up. I showed on my episode. I show the black helicopters showing up. Like, they do show.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to go.
They are protecting something.
You're not allowed to go, apparently.
Says the U.S. government.
Says the government. The U.S. government says you cannot go. Obviously, it's a national park, right? So they have, and it's fucking America. They could tell you what the fuck you're going to do and what you can't do. But apparently there's this, what do they call it? The forbidden zone? I don't know.
Why is it forbidden?
I don't know if it's
what the fuck?
I don't know if it's been dubbed that or not, but I mean, we could keep, like, they talk about it a little bit here. Yeah, why is it
the forbidden zone of the Grand Canyon?
I don't know if the government calls it the forbidden zone or people have dubbed it the forbidden zone. Like, that's an interesting piece.
Thing.
It's not as simple as this is a dangerous area, because you can go to any dangerous area.
Right. You can go anywhere.
Just to the normal tourist area. It's like, be careful. People fall. 2 people a year fall.
Yeah, someone fell recently.
Fun fact.
They did?
Yeah, an influencer.
Yeah, like people die at the Grand Canyon.
Of course.
Right.
Taking a selfie.
Yeah.
But the Grand Canyon, there's been these crazy stories of people finding these like these caverns with like Egyptian artwork and hieroglyphics.
And I don't know if there's like people other than just
stories of artifacts
G.E. Kincaid
that have been removed from there.
So the story is, it shows up, I believe, in like the Phoenix Gazette. It's 1903 or so. And the explorer is G.E. Kincaid, and he's going down. He's looking for gold deposits or whatever. This is just before Teddy Roosevelt made the Grand Canyon a preserve. He was a naturalist. So he finds these steps that are clearly man-made. He follows the steps up, and there's a cave, and he goes in there, and he describes hieroglyphics that look Egyptian but are not quite. He finds a statue that he describes as like Buddha.
So people like have said that they kind of falsely attribute these. Like, first of all, if it's not real, like, I don't know what people are talking about here when they say this, but they say that it's falsely attributed to being Egyptian. It's more Hindu. Which
they weren't hanging out in the Grand Canyon either, though, right?
Right.
So I don't give a fuck who did it.
Exactly.
Somebody did it.
Technically, it's not Egyptian.
And it wasn't who I've been told did it.
It's Hindu. But doesn't the Hindu have like the oldest like Bible?
Oh God, you're asking the wrong guy.
Look that up. Whose Bible is the oldest? I feel like the Hindus like super fuck. I don't know what their book's called. The Bhagavad Gita, blah, 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 whatever it is.
Oh, the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I've insulted your religion.
Did remember something from Philosophy 101. What's
the oldest religious text?
Hinduism is widely considered the oldest religion. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just said
oldest text,
statues of Buddha.
I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Dates around 1500 to 1200 BCE.
Crazy old.
How old's the Grand Canyon?
Older. But
Yeah,
I'm saying,
probably.
right? Like, it's still weird, even if it's not Egyptian.
Yeah. Who gives a fuck who did it?
Who gives a fuck, right?
Who cares? And what? You're not allowed to go there.
You're not allowed to
You
go
can't
there.
go find out for yourself.
Why?
You know where else you're not allowed to go?
Where?
Antarctica.
Is that real, though?
Yes.
Like, you legit can't go. I can't go to Antarctica right now.
Well, there's like 2 or 3 places where
people actually run
civilians are
marathons
allowed
there.
to go.
Okay.
Yeah. There's civilians are allowed to go to certain times, and they have to be approved. But you, John, cannot get in your plane and just fly
I can't
over
get in a
Antarctica.
boat and go there?
Nope.
I mean, I'd die, but
Let's say you wouldn't die. Let's say you'd survive the trip. You can't go there as a civilian without some sort of approval from the powers that be.
that's weird.
And you can't go to the Grand Canyon either, apparently.
Just this area.
Let's go.
Like, not Egyptian,
Just
not
this
human,
area.
but sort of like Buddha. And all these weapons, shields, gold, all sorts of
Weapons,
stuff.
shields,
he keeps going, he
gold.
finds a deserted city in the caves. And all these tunnels and caverns go everywhere, and he's trying to map everything. He comes out, and he goes back to town, and he gathers together a group that we're going to go.
I need a posse.
We're going to go find the stuff again. And people are excited about it. And a couple of weeks go by, and everyone's gathered to go on the expedition. He never shows. The expedition goes nowhere, and that's really the last we've heard.
Yeah, because they
of it.
fucking got him, dude.
Really? And is there any
They
photographs?
fucking got him.
Did they get like that's
They got him.
There's a couple things that they say about that. Like, yeah, they got him.
They got him.
Right.
100%.
G-Man got him.
Yep.
1909 fucking
Oh, you
government
want to look
agents
around the
got him.
Grand Canyon, huh? Where? Where in the Grand
Well,
Canyon?
who would have, like, back then, it's not like government agents were everywhere and spying on you, right? They just couldn't. They couldn't. Let alone in the depths of the Grand Canyon.
Maybe. John, over the last 3 to 4 months,
Palantir didn't exist in
slowly
1909.
discovering that everything we've ever been fucking told about the government, possibly U.S. history, major world events, archaeological discoveries, could just all be bullshit. So could the government
I don't
stalk
know.
you in 1901? Officially, no, but I don't fucking know.
I mean,
Maybe.
you could get, I guess, into a deeper conversation of when. Well, Roswell hadn't even happened at this point, so you can't say they had alien tech and reverse engineered it. Roswell was what, in the 40s,
Dude,
30s?
speaking of Roswell, Rogan again. Hey, shout out Rogan. Hey, give us some love.
Jose, yeah.
I don't know. This is off topic, but I'm going to pull up the guy's name because I was listening to him on the drive over. Have you listened to Jesse, is it Michaels on Rogan? It was yesterday's episode.
No, haven't got there yet.
Holy fuck.
Is he the science guy?
He's a fucking...
He's a YouTuber, but he does like science stuff, right?
alchemist
Yes,
something?
yes. Yeah, I haven't got
American
that.
Alchemy.
That one's next.
Holy shit. So I'll get off my soapbox, but in terms of talking about the Grand Canyon and older civilizations of technology living there
Yeah.
that we didn't know about, you got to listen to this one too. Because
All
he
right.
talks about Roswell. He talks about found craft. He talks about all sorts of... So basically what it boils down to this is the government has shit way before we have shit, dude. So if
For sure.
if Roswell's public information in the 1940s, I promise you shit was going on
Dude,
before
the
Roswell.
I mean, fuck, maybe we need to talk about that again, but that is such the weirdest fucking
Well,
story.
Roswell is one of our secret episodes. We never released that one.
I know.
So
We should do it specifically. We did
Yes.
like a whole alien, but specifically about Roswell because it's
Yeah.
bizarre. All right, let's continue
anyway,
with this
back
shit.
to the Grand Canyon.
No.
There never is of this stuff.
Right. Just descriptions.
Just a great story.
Just
Well,
description.
the
I
great
mean, it is
part of the story is
1909.
the
I
fact
mean,
that you actually can't go
I'm not
there.
it's not like you could take a picture with your
Just
iPhone.
the idea that there's an area where the military is protecting people from being foolish, that doesn't make any sense.
Nobody asks why.
Right.
I'm out of focus again.
Nobody asks why. It really bothers me about that story and all of these, whether it's disclosure or whatever. I don't hear anyone asking why. Well, they won't let us. Well, who's they?
Right.
Someone's in charge of stuff that's not the president
Right.
or Congress. So who is it?
That's a really good point.
So,
that
you
Joe
know,
Rogan
Is it
made.
possible there's some
Joe
sort
Rogan.
of a government
Shout out Joe
installation
Rogan.
done?
I cannot say Joe Rogan without thinking about Chappelle. When he said, "Since when does the government stop you from doing something that's dangerous?"
Never.
This is America, baby. You know what I mean? We do whatever the fuck we want here. You said I can't go hike down there? Fuck you. This is America.
But you can jump out of a fucking plane.
Sure.
No big deal.
As long as it's not over the Grand Canyon.
That specific
In the
part,
forbidden zone.
In the forbidden zone. And people say too that area is like you used to be able to see it when Google Maps came out, Google Earth. But now it's like all of a sudden the quality over that area is worse than it was before.
There's a movie on Apple called, I don't know, The Canyon or it's another word for canyon, but it's about these two people who are guarding this canyon.
Yeah. I know what
Right?
you're talking about. Uh-huh.
Fucking great movie, by
Is
the
it?
way. You know what's not great is being out of focus again, dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, great movie, but the whole point that they're doing is they're guarding this canyon that nobody knows is there. And long story short, spoiler alert, they're covering up some old fucking government experiment and all that shit. But the part that I found interesting was the question came up of, well, how do people not know that this is here? Like it's called the gorge. You got this giant gorge. It's surrounded by all sorts of like tech and missiles to keep things from pulling out or from flying out of it and all that shit.
Yeah.
How do people not know it's here? And it was explained in the movie, well, we have this series of satellite arrays that project whatever up into the sky and it hides it from the map. And it kind of got me thinking like, oh, because if it's in Hollywood, sometimes I feel like that's kind of like, I think they use Hollywood for disclosure of a lot of things.
Maybe.
And it would not surprise me in the slightest that we have some sort of satellite array that,
How do you keep getting out of focus?
I have no idea. We have some sort of satellite delay or array that blocks you from seeing certain things on Google Maps. If there were hidden parts of let me just put it this way. If there were hidden parts of the globe that you weren't allowed to see, they'd just block it out on Google Maps and give you Google Maps and tell you, yeah, this is the whole world. You can look anywhere you want.
Maybe.
Except for where we don't want you to look.
Maybe.
Like the forbidden zone.
The forbidden zone.
Or somewhere.
Fucking wild.
You know, it's all going to be woo-woo conspiracy stuff, or it's real, or G.E. Kincaid found something and someone got to him.
But if G.E. Kincaid found something, why would they want to hide some ancient civilization discovery, particularly in the early 1900s?
That's the thing I can't wrap why would they want to hide it in the early 1900s?
Well, you want to hear the tinfoil answer to that?
I do. That's why I'm here.
So, I don't know. I have some thoughts, but I can spitball a couple reasons as to why, right?
Mhm.
Let's say there is this old ancient civilization, remnants of which are hidden in the Grand Canyon. Let's say it is Egyptian or Hindu or whatever.
Mhm.
Doesn't that imply that all of these ancient civilizations, like, not only like lived in other places, but had means of transportation and communication between all of it? You see the same thing. I don't know if they talked about it in this episode, but like there's all these ancient statues and they're all carrying this weird handbag or holding what looks like a pine cone. And they're thousands of miles apart, hundreds of years apart from each other. How are they all making the same thing?
There's a lot of instances of that. Yeah.
And it's just weird. But you know what we do? We don't talk about it.
But what I just don't get why this would be something that we need to hide
To that point.
Or that early on. I could see like now maybe there's other reasons.
Yeah, I don't know about 1901, but I can imagine that, you know, it kind of has the potential to shit in the face of religion.
That's the one big thing I can think of. But even then, like people who use religion as a tool to control other people and things, like I feel like they could spin that in their favor just as well.
Well, what about here's where we get real fucking crazy. Let's say it's Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say somehow the Egyptian civilization expanded beyond Egypt and made it to the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
Okay. They somehow had travel capabilities beyond what we thought they had at that point. I think it's safe to say, and technology beyond that. So doesn't that call into question how the pyramids were built in the first place?
I think that's completely up for debate as well.
Well, and if you question it, you're an idiot, right? But it's like, but I'm not. I'm just asking the pertinent questions here. There is no such thing as settled science.
Especially when the settled, like you want to talk about the pyramids, especially regarding the pyramids, when the answer you give me doesn't make any sense.
Dude, the pyramids line up with the stars. The math on the pyramid's ridiculous. I'm going to butcher this, but like something about the perimeter or the area
it's within inches
of like the world's circumference.
Yeah.
And like the faces of the Great Pyramid face true cardinal directions. How are they doing that with sticks? So you know what I mean? And pulling, I found out that the blocks that were built into the pyramid were not from that area.
Yeah, they're like fucking 50 miles away or some shit.
And each individual stone was made specifically for that spot in the pyramid.
Yeah. I also didn't know this, but the pyramid's not exactly a straight side. It's concave when you look at it from above. Yeah, it's slightly concave. Not like a 45 degree angle, but maybe like a
well, there's all
30
sorts of people who have these conspiracy theories that, well, they did not spend all of this time and effort to build a tomb. Like,
not to mention, I might get this wrong. I don't think they've found mummies in there.
I've heard about that.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
That may be wrong. Like, fact check me on that shit. Tell me in the comments if I'm a fucking idiot. Only about that. I know I'm an idiot about other stuff, but specifically about that. I could be wrong.
So I guess to answer your question as to why something like this would be downplayed or not talked about or pushed to the back or called a conspiracy, I guess this is where people start kind of signing out when people say things like this, is because it kind of implies that there's been a lot going on for a really long time to make you think that the world is and always was a certain way, and that might not be the case. And so the next question is, like, what are they hiding?
At that point in time, 1909, I just can't imagine that there is somebody trying. That was like the age of discovery, American hubris. Like, look what we can do. Look what we found. We've discovered this. We've built this. I feel like that would be a fuck yeah feather in our cap. Unless the only thing that makes me think differently is like a secret society from Indiana Jones movies that we are here. We are guardians of the truth. Maybe. That's the only thing I could think of.
I think there's a really good chance that a lot of our archaeological and natural history just isn't the way that we've been taught. And don't you dare question the narrative. Don't you dare. Joe Rogan talks about this a lot. Joe Rogan. He like, doing your own research has become such a bugaboo lately.
I know.
What do you mean don't fucking read a book? Don't look it up for myself.
Yeah.
Just shut up and believe whatever I spoon feed you. Okay. And I'm the crazy one?
Yeah, I'm a fucking lunatic.
Come on,
you have to trust the experts, even though they're wrong all the fucking
even though
time.
the experts openly lie to you.
Yeah, we've talked about this a million times. Yeah, they lie to us over so many things, but trust them on this one.
So
and they could just be wrong. Sure. They might not be lying. They could be wrong.
Sure, people are wrong all the time.
Absolutely.
That's another kind of segue for 30 seconds here. Is I've discovered that I don't know if it's just in the United States or if it's across the world, but we've developed this culture of being wrong is like worse than death. And so that creates divide, and all we do is fucking yell at each other anymore. No one talks to each other. I'll have a conversation with you, and if I'm wrong, I want to know that I'm wrong, because
you're like, oh, fuck,
now I'm a better person, right? Yeah. I'm not going to go around spreading the dreaded misinformation, you know, like, but if you challenge people, like if you go to somebody who knows all about, I don't know if you listen to another Rogan episode with that Zahi guy, I discovered everything in Egypt.
Yeah, we talked about that. I couldn't listen to that dude because he's trying to sell the book.
You can't go to him with these questions, right? Because you're an idiot. Why would you ever look it up for yourself?
If you don't believe everything he says,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, well,
even other experts, he's saying like, no, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Mr. Zahi, what if you're wrong? Wouldn't you rather be wrong and be better for it in the long run than to hold on to incorrect information for your entire life?
Somebody like Graham Hancock, who a lot of his stuff gets shit on all the time because he's not a real scientist, but he talks about this all the time, that there's so much ego in the scientific arena that they will never admit they're wrong. Their careers, their lives have been staked on claim X and Y. Do you know what I mean? They will not backtrack and say they're wrong. They've written books about it.
I don't blame
They've given
them.
seminars about it.
I don't blame them. It would really suck to spend 20 years wrong on something.
Well, again, imagine your whole livelihood is wrapped up. Your whole identity is wrapped up in this claim. I teach on this at Harvard. Like, I'm not wrong.
So like, when was the last time we were like wrong? Why aren't we allowed to be wrong anymore? That's the concerning part to me, is you just don't know anymore. And with this Egypt or Hindu stuff being discovered or allegedly discovered, or at least being talked about now in the Grand Canyon, like the implications for that are huge. Huge. But like, it could question our entire natural history of human civilization. And we're not talking about it. Now, to be fair, I got to play devil's advocate here. Is the only information this alleged newspaper article from 1901, that's it?
Yeah, 1909. That's it. That's it.
It doesn't make it an easy case to argue for.
But at the same time, let's play a little bit more here and I'll finish what I was going to say.
For what reason?
I don't know why Graham Hancock is marginalized now.
Right, but that wouldn't you think that there's like less of a grip on that stuff in the 1900s,
Yes.
early 1900s?
Exactly. That's
think
what I
so.
would think. Yeah.
So my guess would be treasure and money. That would be my guess.
Maybe. Sure.
Is
Yeah.
it shows up in the
No,
paper.
that's my claim. My booty.
The government goes
Yeah.
down there like, there's a lot of stuff down here. Let's grab it. Send it to the Smithsonian, who keeps 99% of the stuff under wraps.
Listen to
They
the
have,
Don't
Smithsonian.
get me
items
started
that
on the
nobody can see.
Smithsonian.
And then that's the end of it.
Yeah, but what the fuck? Which I would love to know the official reason. See if you can Google.
Yeah, what's
Is
the
there
official
an official
reason?
reason why you're not allowed to go to certain areas of the Grand Canyon?
They use a VPN there, brother.
The story, I was looking at an article about the original article, and it says that the two guys mentioned might not have even existed.
Right.
Maybe.
There's no evidence
I don't know.
of them.
G.E. Kincaid?
And
Right.
another guy named S.A. Jordan.
Oh, so it might be just a story that someone printed?
Hey, how come back in the day,
I've read.
like, it was big to have initials? Like, I'm not J.H. Idler. Like, I'm John. Like, why did it was a big thing to have your initials?
It was distinguished.
Maybe.
You know
I'm a
what I
fucking
mean?
scholar and a gentleman.
I am
Yeah.
T.S. Eliot. Who the fuck
Yeah.
are you?
Maybe.
I don't even know who that guy is, but his name lives rent-free in my brain.
When I was looking into one of these things before, I found something explaining that back in the like early 1900s, when newspapers were a really popular thing to read, I don't know if it was like a game or if there was actual
This
prizes
is a real
people
thing.
would play or like amongst
What
themselves
Jamie's
to
talking
try to
about.
get
Yeah.
fake stories printed.
Yeah,
Like
like,
if you
I
could
remember
get the
this
craziest
part.
story printed, you win like $500 or.
I might
Yeah.
be wrong, but I think Jordan was connected to the Smithsonian, at least according to the
So I
story.
pulled this from
the Smithsonian says this dude
debunk,
never
which,
existed,
I mean,
never worked
obviously
from there,
avoided
never
this
went on
where
any
we're gonna go with it,
expedition.
but them debunking this, and they gave
But
one
again,
links, one to the
why
original
can't I go there?
1909
Why
article
can't I
and one to a
fucking go
2008
there?
update.
It's kind of like,
Full now.
I don't know if I brought up this analogy last week, but it was like, it's kind of like when you get pulled over
Mhm.
and they're like, hey, I'm going to search your vehicle. And you say, well, I don't consent to searches. And then they hit you with the, well, do you have anything to hide or anything I should be concerned about? And your knee jerk reaction is, well, no, go ahead. And then they find your cocaine
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, if there was nothing to hide, why are you keeping me from going to the forbidden zone? If there's nothing there, let us know.
Well, so I think they basically, there's a couple of reasons they say. Number one is safety. It's dangerous to go
Well,
there.
it's for your safety. I've never heard that fucking bullshit ever.
Right.
For my safety.
Trust the X.
Okay.
Hey, take this. It's for your safety.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Stay inside. It's for your safety. Yeah, we need to spy on you for your safety. We need to be able to lock you in Guantanamo Bay for your safety. What the fucker? What?
Yeah, I haven't heard that argument
Yeah.
before.
So there's that. It's for your safety. Even though I have no problems with you fucking going in a fucking man-made or a homemade submarine to go see the Titanic.
Yeah, with an Xbox controller.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Go for it.
I don't have a problem with you jumping from a fucking space shuttle in outer space, Red Bull. Remember
Yeah.
that guy that fucking did that?
That's
Outer
sweet.
Orbit?
That was pretty awesome.
That was the fucking coolest
That was
thing I've ever
pretty
seen. But they didn't
Don't
stop
you dare go to the Grand
They
Canyon.
didn't stop him from doing that.
Don't you
right?
dare.
Yeah, but this area,
There's nothing there.
It's dangerous.
There's nothing there, though. It's really dangerous for you to be there. There's nothing there.
Hey, do you think I could go pet a grizzly bear? Like, I don't give a fuck what you do
Yeah.
in your off time,
Yeah.
but you're not going to the Grand Canyon. It's dangerous.
Yeah, shit. I got my boy Junior up in Alaska. Let me give you his number. He'll take you out there. But if you go to the Grand Canyon, I swear to fuck,
Yeah, you can't.
you're going
it's-
to Guantanamo.
It's dangerous.
That
They
doesn't
might
make any
send you to
sense.
Guantanamo. Maybe that's where G.E. Kincaid is, Gitmo. Maybe.
Well, he's probably dead by now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Unless you got a hold of that fucking ancient
Maybe.
Indian, Hindu, Egyptian shit.
That's what I think, man. I think it's bigger than riches and shit. I think there was some sort of technology there. I think Egypt, I'll go out on a limb and I'll make a claim right here. I think Egypt was a lot more technologically advanced than we're giving them credit for. I think they had all sorts of shit. I don't know what.
The thing that gets me about that is just like this Grand Canyon story, there is no remnants of it.
Sure, there is. It's in the Smithsonian.
If it's in the Smithsonian. But
This guy just said they keep 95% of what they have under wraps. Like, why?
I just feel like over time, that was just too much. It's too big a secret to hide. Kind of like flat Earth. Like, no.
I think I think Flat Earth was I think it was a psyop by the CIA to discredit the other conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could be.
I got an idea. You want them to not listen to the guys who are saying that we killed JFK? Let's get a bunch of these idiots to believe the Earth is flat.
Yeah, because then they be discredited about
and
everything
then
else.
Tell me about JFK.
Dude, if I worked for the CIA and it's like, hey, your job is disinformation, look out. Because I'm coming up with some fun shit to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like the Earth is flat. And fucking feed it to Kanye West and let him spread it through ever.
Dude, Kanye's on some shit right now.
He's on some different shit.
He is on. That's all I'm gonna say on old Kanye right now.
Yeah, and his whole dude.
I don't trust the Smithsonian. They're exempt from all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a law passed not too long ago that if you have Native American artifacts that are important to that culture, especially burial artifacts, they must be returned. Unless you're the Smithsonian, then
they're allowed to hold on to them?
Then you can make a case that you don't have to give it back.
How do they have so much power?
It's a government agency.
Smithsonian is a government. Oh, I didn't even know. I thought it was a private agency. So there's no official story as to why this area of the Grand Canyon is off limits.
For your safety.
The forbidden zone, they call it.
Yeah. It's all I can find.
For your safety, stand 6 feet apart.
They also say that they're trying to protect like the natural environment there. Like where I really want to know in the comments. Let me know if you know where else in the country are you not allowed to go because they're trying to preserve the natural environment. They're trying to also protect the sacred ground, not burial grounds, but sacred grounds of these tribes that are down there. Because one thing I know for sure is the U.S. government doesn't give a fuck about natives.
No, we kicked
that
them
much
all
I
out.
know.
Remember that?
There's this thing here in Arizona right now. Like there's this sacred area where they all go to perform rituals. But guess what? There's copper there. So a mining company said, hey, we need that area.
Sorry to bother you, but
yeah, the natives are like, no, this is sacred to us. So like,
Lindsey Graham perked up in the middle of
hey, get them minerals, baby.
So I think I smell some minerals.
How much copper's in that ground, boys?
How much copper are we talking?
So the court just decided, like, natives, you're out. Whatever mining industry you're in.
Yeah, see?
Dig, baby, dig.
Yeah.
That much I know they don't give a fuck about natives. So, but just in this one case, they do.
The government only cares about things when it... Speaking of, can I segue here?
Sure.
Because it is June 4th when we're recording this.
Yes.
Speaking of the government only caring about things when it's advantageous to them, I'd like to wish all of our listeners a happy Pride Month. And I would like you all to see all of the brands that are not posting rainbow flags or having special segments of their store or putting commercials on TV. They don't give a fuck about you.
The NFL did.
They did?
The NFL.
Okay, well, they're lost. They ended racism recently, though, so they can do this.
This is off topic of what we're talking about, but they cut the first line in their little commercial is the NFL is gay. Des Bryant came out and he's like, the fuck
words.
it is.
Your words. You know what I mean? Like,
why are you gay?
But you know what I mean, dude? Like, just as a side note, wake up, people. Hopefully I speak for John and myself. I don't care what you do in your spare time. I don't care.
I care a great deal.
Well, leave the kids out of it and pay attention that this year, most of the major brands don't give a fuck about your cause anymore. They wanted your money last year. They're not your allies.
Yeah, they
they're
do not
just
care
not.
about you. They care about money.
Pay attention, people. Anyway, sorry.
Pull your head out of your ass.
Or somebody else's. It is June. Heyo.
On that note, we can wrap this segment up. We can wrap this segment up there. They go into it for a little while longer, but you kind of get the gist of it. Like, it's weird that you can't go down there.
Dude, this is a really good segue into something I brought to the show today.
Yeah.